Hi everyone, I'm James, and we're in the middle of a series called Stuck Together, where we're diving into the good, the bad, and the complicated stuff that comes with being a part of a family. When we say family, we mean the people we're with in this life. On that note, I'd like to share a little bit about my own family, so here's a quick video of my wife and 9-month-old daughter.
Hi, babe. I just want to let you know what your daughter's up to. Ay, Arya, no es comida. No es comida. Gracias. Okay, I'm trying to... She keeps putting it. No es comida, Arya. No es comida. Anyways, look what she found. Just want to let you know. We miss you. Love you.
I know. So cute, right? Now, whether we're talking about the family you're born with or the family you choose, there's something about navigating family that isn't always easy. I think that's because no matter how awesome your family may be, there's no such thing as a perfect family, including my own. Years ago, on a Sunday, back when I was in junior high, my family and I went to church. And when I say my family, I mean my mom, my younger brother, and me, since at this point, my parents had gotten divorced and we were spending the weekend with my mom. Something you also need to know is that my brother and I, we didn't always get along very well as kids, so we'd often get in arguments and fights. Typical siblings, right? Well, this Sunday ended up being, no different, and while we were in the middle of, all places, church service, my brother and I started getting into it. Now, I don't remember what was the cause of the fight, not even a whole lot of what happened, but what I do remember is it ended with me punching my brother in the... Keep in mind, all this is going on in the middle of service, and for embarrassing my mom at church, we were sent to our rooms for the rest of the day. Not exactly a picture-perfect family, am I right? Maybe you can relate, because your family has had a few less than perfect moments of their own. Chances are you have. I think we all feel this way about our family at some point, because, like we said, no family is a perfect family. Maybe there's a lot of tension in your home. The truth is, there's some tension in every single family. No family is perfect. For some families, this tension feels obvious and even extreme. You slam doors, argue a lot, or yell. For other families, it's a quieter kind of tension. You feel the stress in the room when your family talks about money, vacation, holidays, step-siblings, or any number of things. Either way, that tension makes your home a stressful place to live. Or maybe you've discovered some things about people in your family that you wish you didn't know. Secrets about relationships, affairs, legal problems, or bad decisions that have hurt people and caused problems for your family. Maybe your family is facing other big problems. You're dealing with things like divorce, remarriage, a parent who left and never looked back, or siblings who are always in trouble. Things like that can certainly leave your family feeling less than perfect. Or maybe for you, the problem in your family comes from something really serious, something like abuse, neglect, addiction, or abandonment. You may feel really alone in those situations, but I can promise you that you don't have to be. You have a small group leader who wants to be a part of your family here at church, and they want to help you navigate the serious stuff you may be facing at home. If that's your situation, I hope you'll take the brave step to share with them today so they can help you. Honestly, no matter what it is you're dealing with at home, the reality is we're all dealing with imperfect people in imperfect families. Sometimes we might think that nothing good could ever come from an imperfect family. That God might not be able to do much in our lives because we're stuck in a family that isn't always getting it right. Well, as we'll see today, that couldn't be further from the truth. One thing I love about the Bible is that it's made up of events that really happened in the lives of real people. Their lives were far from perfect, and a lot of their families weren't either. Can't we all relate to that? There's one family in the Bible whose story I think can help us out here. It starts with a man named Abraham. God promised Abraham that he would have a big family, and that God would eventually use that family in a really big way. Pretty cool, right? Abraham had a son named Isaac, who had two sons named Jacob and Esau. These two were twins, but they were very different from each other, as most siblings are. They looked different, they acted different, they had different interests. Eventually, all their differences caused a lot of drama between the two of them. Now, here's where it gets crazy. Esau was born first, and being the firstborn was a big deal in those days. For one, being the firstborn meant that Esau got the birthright, meaning he would be in charge of the family money and property when their father died. And second, being the firstborn meant Esau got the blessing, meaning he'd receive the family's future wealth. Since his family came from Abraham, Esau's blessing also included all the promises that God had made to Abraham. Promises to make their name great, to do big things with their family, and to bless all people through this one family. As you can imagine, Jacob didn't love his situation because as a second-born, he wasn't going to get the birthright or the blessing, basically nothing, in comparison to his brother. Their mother, Rebecca, favored Jacob over Esau. So together, Jacob and his mom came up with a plan. First, Jacob convinced Esau to promise the birthright to him. And honestly, it didn't take much convincing. Esau was starving, so Jacob offered him some food in exchange for his birthright. Doesn't seem like an even trade to me, but haven't we all made some crazy decisions when we're hungry? With the birthright now his, all Jacob had to do was trick his father Isaac into giving the blessing to him. Because Isaac was older and toward the end of his life, his eyesight wasn't so great. When it came time to give Esau the family blessing, Jacob's mom helped disguise Jacob as his brother so that Isaac would give him Esau's blessing. And here's the crazy thing. It worked. Isaac gave Jacob the blessing that was promised to Esau. Of course, when Esau came in a few months later, he had no idea what his brother had done. When their father realized what had happened, look at how it played out. When Esau heard his father's words, he burst out with a loud and bitter cry and said to his father, "Bless me too, my father." But he said, "Your brother came deceitfully and took your blessing." Esau said, "Isn't he rightly named Jacob? This is the second time he has taken advantage of me. He took my birthright, and now he's taken my blessing." Then he asked, "Haven't you reserved any blessing for me?" Isaac answered Esau, "I have made him lord over you, and have made all his relatives his servants, and I have sustained him with grain and new wine. So what can I possibly do for you, my son?" Esau said to his father, "Do you have only one blessing, my father? Bless me too, my father." Then Esau wept aloud. That's in Genesis 27:34-38. It only got worse from there. After some heated conversation, we find out that Esau planned to kill Jacob over this. So their mother sent Jacob away to protect him, breaking up their family completely. Now, what's the point of this insane story? Well, it's that the story didn't stop there. Sure, this family was a mess, but even in the mess, God still had an important future planned for them. God had promised something great to Abraham, and a messed up family wasn't going to change that. Their family didn't have to be perfect for God to use them. Hundreds of years after this happened, the writer of a book in the Bible called Hebrews looked back on this exact story. There, the writer didn't talk about the mess, or the bad choices, or the pain in this family. Instead, they wrote this: "By faith, Isaac blessed Jacob and Esau in regard to their future." See, Isaac did eventually pass on a blessing to Esau. It wasn't the same as the original blessing that Jacob stole, but it was something. It was an act of faith. Even though there were a lot of really bad moments in their family, the very act of Isaac passing on a blessing in his family was an act of faith. It was a way of saying, I believe what God said about our family is true. I believe God has something good for us in the future. God had a plan for this imperfect family. Even in the middle of so much pain and so many problems, they trusted God to come through. And that's what I want for each of us. Seeing how God didn't forget about a less than perfect family back then can give you hope that God will do the same for your family today. In fact, for a lot of you, the most important thing about this lesson is that nobody is perfect. Our families are complicated. Sometimes we may experience frustration or tension with our families, and sometimes we may experience happiness and love. The truth is, you don't have to be perfect for God to use you, and your family members don't have to be perfect for God to use them. To help you as you're thinking about the imperfect family you're with, here's what I want you to try. Number 1, choose to believe God is working. Sometimes your family members will mess up, disappoint you, and get it wrong. That's because they aren't going to be perfect. Instead of getting frustrated and shutting down, what if you chose to believe that God was working in your family even when things are messy? 2, one way you can choose to believe God is working is to look for the good God is doing in your family. Maybe that's a great conversation you had with your grandfather, or learning to be more patient with your younger siblings, or feeling less tension in your home lately. No matter what it is, look for the good that God is already doing. And 3, stay connected to your family. Sometimes it might feel easier to want to avoid our families when we're frustrated or when things get complicated. But what if instead you made the choice to stay connected to your family this week, when things feel complicated and when things feel good? For some of you, I know that staying connected to your family isn't the best option. In fact, it's not an option at all. The stuff that makes your family imperfect is more than just frustrations or annoyances. It's the kind of stuff that makes staying connected to your family simply not safe. If that's you, I want to encourage you to connect with someone who is like a family. Open up to a small group leader, a teacher, a neighbor, a coach, or any trusted adult in your life who cares about you. Connect with them about what's happening in your home so that they can help you take the best next step. I know that may be scary, but those people are in your life for a purpose. They're the family you get to choose to connect with, and when you need some help with the family you have at home. Remember, your family doesn't have to be perfect for God to use it. I believe that's true in my family, and I believe it can be true in your family too. As you have a small group, hopefully it's comforting to know that you aren't the only one who has an imperfect family. What's great about your small group is that you can connect with someone who knows how you feel. I hope you'll share with your small group fam today. Now, as you head to your group, I want you to think about this question. What's one great thing you hope God will do in your family?